Peace. What's up, you guys? Peace, love, and light. Hello, hello, hello. So today on this live, on this educational video, we're going to be talking about the moon chain and the lunar forces. Now, you guys may have been hearing me say, do not, do not, do not follow the lunar cycles. It is time for you to get more on the solar cycles. Well, Tiffany, what does that mean? That means working with the energies of your other planets like Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Venus, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto. Work with the other planetaries like that's out there besides just the moon. Because the moon has been tampered with. The moon is no longer the moon no more. Okay, the moon is under the control of the Greys, the Zetas, the Anunnakis, and the Draconians. Is under their control now. And what they have been doing with the moon is they've been using the moon to implement certain programs and forces, and we're going to get into that today, to carry out their agenda. Basically harvest off your energy. So when you're connected to the moon cycle or you're connected to the moon energy here, right, you become part of their programming. Now, I was on live the other day, and almost every person that I did a reading for was under some type of gray programming. They was under some type of gray, and I could show you guys, if you want me to show you a picture of them. I don't know where my card's at. Hey, baby. They are under some type of gray programming, okay? And so the gray programming is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about this moon chain programming. Please share this video with your family, your friends, your relative. Please make sure you hit the like button as well, too. This is going to be an interesting video, and I definitely need you to literally keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. The moon is not real, okay? The moon chain beings are soulless beings like the Greys, the Zetas that have cloned and hybridized by using the Anunnakis and the Draconians. Now remember, they have been in a contract with us. They've been in a contract with us in order to exchange for their technology. So they said, okay, we'll give you our technology. And as you can see, Elon Musk coming out with all the technology. He's one of the biggest Greys as well. He said, okay, we'll give you our technology if you can give us humanity's energy and life force. They don't need to know that they're a star seed. They don't need to know that they're power. We'll just keep them like slaves and keep them working. We'll sex them out, drink them out, mind control them so hard that they won't even know, okay? Okay, Nova. Okay, so you need to call if the babies are being attacked then. Yes, the babies are being attacked. So you gotta see what are they watching? So if your children are getting dreams about these things or they're seeing blob things or marine spirits, okay, blob things or marine spirits. So if your children are getting attacked or your children are experiencing any of these type of dreams, you need to see what program are the kids you put. Are you just throwing your kids on watching TV? Are they on a game? Are they on an iPad? They come through the devices. Are you letting them fall asleep with the devices? Grays come through the technology. Okay, they come through. That's why they tell us now to not, see, that's why they're telling us to not sleep next to our phones. Remember back a couple years ago, they was telling us to not sleep by our phone, or you need to have this magnetic, it's like a diamond thing, it's like black, and you can sit these things around your house to protect the energetic field in your house to stop this type of stuff from happening. Okay, so yeah, you're going to have to let the dad know they cannot watch their technology and TV while they're falling asleep. That you're going to have to do something about that, okay? If not, you can work with it later, okay? But let me finish. So let's get into this, okay? So again, these moon cycles have been, they have been controlled, and I'm going to turn my phone over because I don't want to get distracted, okay? Yeah, I can't multitask. I'm not good at multitasking, y'all. Moon chain lineages are also cast off from other cycles of evolution between multiple planets in our solar system. The moon chain lineage have been directly involved with karmically, and technology with the purpose of creating sexual misery. Okay? They have been karmically technology meant to create sexual misery, which is why you have this huge sexual agenda of everybody popping in, locking and drinking, dropping it, why you have men and women who can't control their sexual urges, they can't control their addictions. The porn industry is high, the sexual industry is at an all-time high rate right now. People just can't cut it off. They ain't got no control over their sexual energy. That's what this program is about. It creates it's a sexual misery program. You done sex yourself so much, you ain't built nothing, you ain't got no money, you had kids, you're on government assistance, they do all of this just so they can harvest your energy. Okay? So this is a sexual misery program in the human race during this dark age. The sexual misery program is to distort, manipulate, and abuse the sexual energies, therefore spiritual energies in human beings incarnated on this planet. So it's all to keep you from your spiritual higher self. Okay? The Baphomet field are intricately involved in all deceptions and trickery relating to the seducer archetype. Okay, Baphomet. So that's why you'll see a lot of people under demonic attacks. All of this got to do with like these demonic attacks, these demons, and all of that. That's the Baphomet agenda. And they're basically the seducer. Okay, these are going to be using your people who are kind of like the predators. Okay, the reptilians are considered the predators. Okay, but the reptilians were under the draconians. So yeah, they promote the sexual misery program of the lunar forces or moon chain lineage. Okay, they work and promote the sexual misery program under the lunar forces or moon chain lineage. I remember I was married for 25 years, and every month around the full moon, I just noticed it, y'all, 25 years later. And I would get into an argument with my ex-husband, and we would come back together, and then we would sleep together. It happened every moon cycle. It was the weirdest thing, and I couldn't figure out what the hell is this. Is literally they have you on a karmic cycle and a karmic loop of doing the same thing. That's what this type of program does. And so if you are pulling your cards, if you get a reading from me and you coming out as a gray, or you have great aspects or great programming, there are good grades too. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are okay. They don't like, you got bad in everything. Bad Anunnaki, bad grades. It's bad in everybody. It's good and evil on every side, right? And so you have to deprogram. You have to remove those aspects. Okay, that's what I want to say. Deprogram. How do you deprogram, Tiffany? You have to reprogram your mind. You have to heal. That's how you get these aspects off of you. Get them out of there. Okay. So many of these mind control structures on Earth were held here in place through magnetic imprints transmitted from the moon. So I don't know if you guys can see this picture, but you see this picture? Okay, see how this is your auric field and body. They tried to connect us. I disconnected from the moon, but they basically tried to connect us to the moon, to our aura body. Okay, they created like an energetic soul tie. That's what they've been up there doing. Okay, and so they transmitted the moon, which is an artificial satellite. They created this artificial satellite on the moon. The Orion forces from Saturn have been using the moon as an outpost to transmit lunar forces on Earth. And when you come to me, hey, sister, if you come to me and you get a planetary alignment, we shut your Saturn off if you've done all your karma. If you've done all your karma, we basically close your Saturn energy off. If you have not finished your karma, they will give us a time of how long you will have to leave that Saturn energy open. But yes, they have been using the Saturn energy too. Okay. They've been using, when I went to my Mercury, I had, when I first got, into my gifts and doing all of this work and stuff, I went to my Mercury, and my Mercury had like these little black birds, these little demon looking birds on my Mercury. I had to clean them off. I had to nurture my planets and stuff. I work with solar magic. I don't work with lunar. I've been stopped working with lunar magic. I don't do nothing on the moon cycles. Like when they be like, oh, it's a full moon in this, you should do this and you should do that. I stopped doing that. I mean, what was we really manifesting? Was y'all manifesting anything around those cycles and the moon cycles? Was y'all really manifesting? Like, oh, I planted seeds and was y'all really seeing anything manifest off y'all doing anything in the moon cycle? I have manifested so fast, so rapidly using the solar cycle. Basically, I work with the sun. I work with my planets. I study my birth chart. I look at what time to do things and what not to do things, because I work with the solar energy. If you're still like on the moon cycle, you're like, yeah, I'm burning a candle. That's karmic energy. That's why the karmics burn on the moon cycles. They stay doing magic. It says karmic technology is under the lunar cycle, the moon chain. Wow. Okay. So they have used the moon chain lineage as workers for this purpose for many millenniums. They have been doing this for many lifetimes, many millenniums. These moon lineages have been inherently responsible in the mind control transmitted to Earth to create a gender separation. Okay? To create a gender separation, a sexual misery, and mess. I hope he's okay. To create a gender separation and sexual misery and messanagic. I always mess that word up. You know how men are messanagic men. I guess some men, women are too. Misogynist. That's what it is. Misogynist. Okay. So this is how they create a gender separation with us through this programming. So you got women now mad at men. The men want to be bad bitches, and now they're mad at us. They like, oh, y'all so in y'all damn power. And then you got the women like, but why can't we be in our power? We are in our power because we don't need you. All of that was part of a program to separate us. And I'm telling you, it's big, okay? So moon chain lunar forces. The damage occurred to the solar stargate system and the sun disk network, which disconnected the avatar Christ matrix. We're supposed to be moving into Christ consciousness. We're supposed to be moving in the Christos Sophia's consciousness, Sophia consciousness, right? Not this. Okay, so they've been trying to stop this for a very long time. Okay, so the Christ matrix spiritual communication is linked inside the planetary core manifestation template. Okay, plummeting the earth into a dark age. So that's what they did. They disconnected us, and now we're finally coming back online. They pulled the plug, disconnected us. Okay, and that's what sent us into the dark age. They didn't care. Okay, so this damage to the core template and its subsequent disconnection from the solar logo. So they disconnect us from our solar energy, meaning we couldn't go up there and connect to our planets. We couldn't do it because they disconnected us. If you was under this program, you didn't think to go and travel and work with your Jupiter. You didn't think to go look at your birth chart. A lot of y'all didn't even know nothing about no birth chart. Y'all didn't know nothing about no life path numbers. Y'all didn't know nothing about no life purpose. Y'all didn't even know anything about karmics. You see what I'm saying? They didn't know anything. And then the way that they introduced us to karmics was through drama and chaos. Do y'all see how that worked? They didn't introduce us to it by education. They introduced us to karmic energies and cycles through drama and chaos. Do you hear what I say? Okay. This as long as you know. Okay. So they disconnected us many millennials ago from the solar energy. And so that's why you have to get out in the sun. the way and the key to beat this really is to heal and get out in the sun and get those light cold activation. The energy from the sun is going to activate you more and more every single day. So I try to get out in the sun. I can't make the sun rising, but I do try to do the sunset and mid, like around after like around 2-3 o'clock. Like after this, I'll probably get out in the sun, and then I'll go back out there again in the day and when the sun's set. I try to get out at least twice a day in the sun. I don't care if I'm just, and I've already went outside already, but that doesn't count you just getting in the car and running around. You have to get out there and sit in the sun at least for 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. All right. Let's move right on along. Okay. The NAA groups took advantage of the closed system and the fragmented souls of terror as they were receded back into the earth timelines to reclaim their lost soul parts. As a result of the planetary grid damage, okay, they had lost their soul memories. I'm going to say that again. The NAA groups took advantage. They took advantage of this. Okay, that's all of these people up here in this group, this group chain here up here. Okay, they took advantage of the closed system and fragmented souls of Torah. They took advantage of that soul as they were receded back into the earth timeline. So we were receded back into this timeline to reclaim their lost soul part. So who are you a reincarnation of? Who are you a reincarnation of? That's the question. And that's why, like, Spirit been pushing me to do past life readings and Akasha readings. And I'm like, for what? You know, why? It don't always make sense. But now it's making sense because you really got to know, well, who are you reincarnated as? I know I'm a reincarnated of Ascended Master, but who are you a reincarnated? I'm a teacher. I'm a master teacher. So who are you here to reincarnate as? Okay. As a result of the planetary grid damage, we lost our soul memories. I have a gift to activate soul memories. We lost those soul memories. So now it's like we can't even remember who we were, what we're supposed to do, what happened, or anything. All we know is that, you know, I was in a karmic cycle for 25 years. I was in a toxic relationship. My mom and dad was on drugs. I had a horrible childhood. They put all of that in to distract us, so we can't even remember nothing when it comes to our soul memories. Y'all know how long it took me to get into my own Akasha records? It literally took me almost 6 years. Almost 6 years to get into my own. I just finally able to get into my own. And I had to lock it and seal it because I don't want nobody else in it. But it took me, I wouldn't want, no. Not anybody I don't trust anyway. But so many people trying to come after me and attack me and stuff on a spiritual level. So that's why I just make sure it's protected and sealed. But yeah, hide it, okay? But yeah, it took me a long time. And I know why now. Okay? So yeah, we lost our soul memories and many were recycled repeatedly into the lower dimensional bands of the 3D Earth timelines. So basically, they took your soul memory under this program. It's like, yeah, we'll go in, take the Earthlings, we'll take their, and then we'll just shuffle it and recycle it down into the 3D world. And you know what that means? Do y'all know what that means when they take this stuff and they just shuffle it down into the 3D world? The 3D world is the most lowest vibration. The third dimension is the lowest frequency. It's the lowest vibration. So you mean to tell me you took my soul memory, my soul gifts, who I am, you took it and you filtered it out, imprinted a sexual misery, and I didn't even get to the Dark Mother yet. Where how they put a program in to make us separated from our mothers so we wouldn't be connected to our mothers. Then y'all took that and put that in and threw it on a 3D timeline. Ain't that something? They took all of that and they just threw it on a 3D timeline. So we're unable, they created this so we're unable to heal their soul matrix, evolve or ascend as their conscious body was stuck in time. So, like I said, I was married for 25 years in a cycle, in a loop with somebody that it literally felt like every month it was Groundhog's Day. Every time the moon cycle went, it felt like a Groundhog Day. You ever been in a cycle with somebody? Y'all ever been in a karmic cycle with somebody that feel like you can't get the hell out of it? You feel stuck, you feel trapped. This was all part of, they created the karmic cycle and the karmic wheel for us to stay in it. Crazy, right? So let's talk about the lunar. Well, let me read this real quick. The moon chains are soulless beings, like some of them are gray zetas that have been cloned and hybridized for the use of the NAA groups who have placed them on various moons and planets to be workers. Okay. Moon chains also have connection to the refugees races that come from the Mars Maldek wars. So these beings are from Mars, as well as some of them are on the moon, which resulted in exploding planet in the solar system. Moon chain lineages are considered cast-offs or laggers from other cycles of evolutionary rounds that occur between multiple planets root race located in our solar system. So this is what I'm saying, okay? So this is why you will see some people become part of the gray aspect or the gray programming. And remember, I was telling you guys where I said their souls will be taken over by the grays, or their soul will no longer be them. They're basically going to take their soul somewhere to heal and then bring it back while the gray takes over the actual soul. So you will see these people as like emotionally detached beings. Like you just don't care. You don't have no emotions. You'll see their face be very straight. They'll almost look like a bot. Okay? That's what they're saying. They take them and they cast them off. People who just, they're not healed, they're not ascended, they're not nothing. They're just bots. And that's what they do. They do it with their own species, the grays and the zetas, as well as the humans. They not awakening. They're not, like, what are we going to do with them? It's something for everybody to do here. And they're going to do something with them. And this is what they're doing. Okay? The moon chain lineages have been directly involved both karmically and technology with purposely creating the sexual misery mind control program in the human race during this dark age in order to harvest the maximum amount of human sexual energy for their own explicit use. They have literally been exploiting us to get the most maximum energy out of us through sex. Yes. The sexual misery program is a lunar distortion that is designed to manipulate and abuse your solar consciousness and sexual energy. This type of manipulation is also extremely spiritually abusive because it greatly harms the human light body. This really causes a lot of damage onto your light body. So when you think that you're you sleep at night and you're being attacked by a sex demon, is it a sex demon or is it one of these grays? Who is it that's attacking you? Did the grays send in the sex demon? Who's sending these energies and these spirits in? That's what this is saying. They have to exploit you some way. They can also spiritually rape you and you don't even know. Just to get your sexual energy, they have to get your sexual, and they want a problem now. The veil is so thin that you will feel something bothering you at night. You will feel something bother. You could feel like there's a present or there's something there. I done had so many clients call me and say, Tiffany, something felt weird. It felt like it was hovering over me. Something kept bothering me. Something was saying this, doing this. I had a woman call me 1-2 o'clock in the morning with the same stuff. So you have to be careful, like more than ever is now. Okay. All right. So the lunar matrix, lunar female distortion. So this is where they programmed in to distort females. Okay. Thousands of years ago, the NAA and the power elite, which is the Luciferian bloodline, discovered that in order to gain access to the planetary staff and spiritual energetic gateways, stargates, the portals, interdimensional links into different timelines, they would need to find ways to capture the mother aspect of the Godhead. It all starts with the female, honey, the creator, right? By gaining control over this dark matter and gravitational or magnetic field, okay? Magnetic field manipulation, the insertion of the lunar matrix. The lunar matrix. So they went from mastering how to manipulate the moon energy to now creating a matrix out of that energy. They created a whole matrix, and that's why they be like, you got to get out of the matrix. You got to get out of the matrix. They was able to create a whole matrix, a whole system to keep people on the same loop in the same cycle. Okay? The insertion of the lunar matrix was accomplished in part of dragging in the moon satellite to be used as a base of operation for transmitting lunar broadcasts for achieving magnetic field manipulation and mind control. This makes the Earth a bona fide prison planet. This also serves to gain control over the Sophianic female crystal expression on the Earth by inverting the solar female staff current in the human-like body. So they had to get to the women first. They had to get to the women first. If we can get to the woman first, everything else is going to fall into line, fall into place. And that's exactly what they did. Forcing their inner female principle to run energy reversals. They took us and they ran an energy reversal. Okay, with lunar force, an overlay from the lunar matrix. They took it and they returned us. They reversed us. Isn't that crazy? The fourth dimension, a green energy wave spectrum, is a dimension where the heart damage and the soul-based trauma, which is particularly propagated from incredible history of the human soul damage upon the planet. These 2D, 4D energy centers are compromised and are part of every human being's heart chakra, as well as linked to the histories of the planetary heart complex in Giza, Egypt. So if a lot of you have been feeling like your heart or your chest palpitating, or it's like racing, or your head, you like, oh my God, it feels tight, like I'm about to have a heart attack or something like that, this is all of them messing with that type of program. Okay, this is all of that. They hijacked it. Energy centers, which is the heart chakra. Okay. Upon hijack of these 4D energy centers, they implemented a false white light, false Christ consciousness grid, and a false ascension. So y'all entered in false light, false religion, and false ascension. False light, false religion, and false ascension.
Why you get some?
No, can you make me some? Okay. Yeah, they did a lot of damage. The damage promoted in these centers will also result in emotional distortion. So this is why you can't get your emotions together, because they emotionally distorted you. Okay, they aberrant accumulated energies in the lower body as centers. And it's so crazy because this is all making sense, because even when I do my readings on live, it was like I was pinpointing, but I couldn't really pinpoint it. And I will always see them attacking your lower chakras. They always attack the lower chakras, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root chakra. They attack our confidence. They attack our sexual energy. They harvest through our sexual energy, and they attack us through our finances. They will always attack those lower chakras, and this is why they sent in that X to be the enemy, to do this, to block this, to cause this. And they did it through a moon satellite. You don't even know why. That's because you were unawakened. That's because you was unawakened. Okay? That's what it was. So interesting. So interesting. This was taken advantage by the negative aliens to splinter the soul energies, basically split your soul into two. And it was very interesting because when I was on TikTok Live, I was talking about when Goddess Isis came out, and she was saying that we had to retrieve our soul. We had to retrieve our soul. And I did that work. I worked in my Akasha records. I worked on my energy to keep retrieving my soul. And I try to every night. Every night I meditate, I try to retrieve my soul, retrieve my memories, bring back what I need to bring, show me what I need to see. Right? So it's like I'm forcing myself to kind of deprogram, but at the same time, reprogram myself to realign back to myself and who I was. And that does take work. Okay, we can help you. I can help you, but it does take work on your part to do it as well too. Okay, so there they created those three things, right? So rather than taking advantage by the negative aliens to splinter the soul energies, they integrate and heal it by controlling the sexual energies, by promoting distortion around the sexual act, gender roles, and corrupting our relationships to our mother and father parent. Our race descended into sexual misery. I'm going to say that again. They promoted distortion around our sexual acts. So we're confused. We don't know if we want to be man or woman. They really did that they really messed the Geminis up with that. The gender roles. Okay, now the roles have swapped. You're in the home and you're in masculine energy. You can't even be in your femininity. The man is in feminine energy. You in masculine energy. Then they also corrupted our relationships with our mother and our father. Meaning, let's get the mother and father distorted too, so they can't even connect or have a healthy relationship with their kids. So they created that separation as well too. Okay, so our race, by this happening, it descended and declined into the sexual misery, and now we're finally getting turned. The light is turned back on now, and now we're waking up. We like, hold on, wait a minute, where have I been living in? What is going on? So you're seeing a lot of people more awakened. You're seeing a lot of people going down more their spiritual path and all of that stuff. Religion is real, but religion was distorted. They created a false religion. We are supposed to be following a Christ consciousness. We are supposed to be following natural laws. There's 13 natural laws that we're supposed to be following. But they created a false, they took it and created whatever it is that they wanted to create. They didn't want us to know nothing about none of that. They said, no, obey your slave masters, honey. They created that master slave program. That's a program too. Okay. It is known that the sexual misery program is propagated and controlled by the moon chain, which is the lunar lineage on the earth. There are lineages that are not indigenous to the earth, but came through the process of evasion and deception. These are multiple layers of architect and mind control that have been artificially created to control, deceive, separate, and confuse, torture, steal human beings' sexual life force. And I was talking about that too on live. I was saying like how they really made spirituality like it's okay to be overly sexual, and it's not. It is not. It is a violation against the human soul. These action wounds the soul body as the trauma level in events such as rape, sexual torture, fragment the soul into near destruction. Rape, sexual torture, fragmented the soul into near, and not even to mention molestation. You know, I was getting a download the other day that somebody, mother or parent, knew that somebody was getting molested, and they just thought it was okay to do that, or a parent came to them and told them something, and they didn't do nothing or say anything about it. You know the trauma and the effects that have on a child growing up, especially into adulthood. They can never be in a healthy, balanced relationship until they heal that. And that takes a lot of work to heal. A lot of work to heal. You're not just going to get that healed in 1 month, 2 months. You have to take years of healing that trauma. Okay? So that was all designed to keep our soul fragmented. When the soul fragments from any kind of intense trauma, it shuts down the soul. It shuts down the soul. Okay? It shuts down the soul, the connection, the heart connection, and it splinters you into layers of your mental body. So do you see what I'm saying? Like all this trauma has literally split us into two. Our mind is now, our mental is two. So this is why you will run into men or women that has been sexually abused, sexually trauma. They fell into addictions. And I didn't understand this because my mom went through this. My mother was molested by her grandfather. She hate men. She was like, I hate men. They nasty. She was molested by her grandfather. And that really drove her. She went into drugs at the age of 12 years old because of that. And it literally destroyed her life. And she got caught up in that sexual misery. She started dating older men, and she got caught up in that sexual misery and that addiction. And then that thing tried to pass on, and what it'll do is try to pass on from one lineage to the next lineage. You see what I'm saying? And that's right there runs in the family, because it was another woman in my family as well too, that it was like the men in our family were doing it to the women. That passes on from one lineage to the next. So all of this was designed to keep us fragmented, to keep us split into two minds. And now that we're coming closer to our new earth and we're coming closer to different timelines, my mom couldn't do it no more. She just told me, I just found out I'm 44 years old and I never knew this. I never knew where her trauma came from. I never sat down and had a conversation and understood where her trauma came from. Like, why were you on, drugs, crack cocaine at the age of 12? I never sat down and asked her that until I started doing my own healing. I never thought to think, well, what did my mom really go through? And that's the thing, like a lot of the parents, the generation before us, they don't talk about what they went through. They don't talk about it. They just sweep it underneath the rug. And then we never know what happens because they're silent. The key to healing is to speak your truth. The key to stopping this is to learn how to speak your truth. And it released her, like it's releasing off of her. Y'all, like I'm telling y'all, like this stuff right here is just so deep. But anywho, if this is not healed, if this part of you is not healed, the soul fragments are unable to embody at all and exist in fragment strews across the planetary consciousness grid. So your consciousness, your planetary consciousness, because remember your planets are all in your consciousness. They just float around your head. This is your planetary consciousness. Okay. And the other planets are just energies, right? And they float around you. And so what happened is you got a piece of yourself over here. You got a piece of yourself they set over here, a piece of you over here. It's all over the place. And now you got to call it all back together. The physical results in this disconnection of the soul from its incarnated human body. The soul is outside of the physical cell. And it may exist in millions of fragments rather than integrated to embody. So your soul is literally outside of yourself. Your soul is literally somewhere else outside of yourself and millions of fragments all over the place. And that's why I said it was in the Isis book. And that's why we have the soul retrieval. Goddess Isis was saying we have the soul retrieval ourselves. Yes, we are in the age of Aquarius, period. Okay, so we're getting there, okay? Let's see here. Now, I want to read about the female demonic forces. Well, let's read about the reptile insectoid collective, okay? Because the reptilians or these fallen angelic beings too, they're right among us as well too. They joined with the fallen angelics to counteract and destroy the Chris-adic human guardian race for the control and domination of this time vector in this universal time matrix. These are also called the Black Suns and the Black Sun Agenda. Okay? So the reptile insectoid collective is the dragon moth from the Orion black hole system, the Necromon beetle, okay, the men in black from the Nerubian lines, okay, Marduk Armyrkon from the Alpha Centauria, the Centaur Hybers from the Omega Centauria, the Zeta from Regal, Zeta draconian agenda, and Zeta from Zeta Reticulia. Okay, so these are all, that's what, 6 different energies that's sitting right now in our collective that's working against all of this. They're working all of this as well too. They're on a Black Sun draconian agenda. Okay. So I'll talk about that another time. Okay, so because I got 2 more other things, top points I want to get to. So we got the lunar female demonic forces. During the return of the solar rishi and guardian hosts clearing and happening in the planetary grids, we may come face to the clearing of these moon chains archetype patterns and their entity attachments related to the lunar female demonic forces. The true divinity of the angelic human female is solar consciousness. I'm going to say that again. The true divinity of the angelic human female is solar consciousness, okay? Based on the solar feminine Christ, which is Sophia. Okay, thus the ascension cycle will require us to explore the shedding of the lunar woman within. So you have to shed off that lunar force. You have to. And you have to get into this solar feminine Christ energy. Okay? In order to transform our sacral energy centers from running lunar force to solar force to embody our highest divine spiritual expression. So even with spirituality, they was creating falsehood in the spirituality. Everybody was running around making moon calendars. Oh, here's the full moon. You should be doing this on the full moon and doing that on the full moon, and not knowing we're feeding the energy of this whole agenda. We didn't even know. I don't go outside during those. I don't go outside when the eclipse, the moon, none of that. Y'all not getting my energy for nothing. I'm sitting in the house meditating. Okay, we got wounded goddess, the phantom energy generated from the exploited plant Tiamat, which is used to power up reversal female archetypes on this planet. They used by the moon chain forces to propagate the mind control of the archetypes, such as the princess code. So there's another code that they entered in, which is the princess code. Okay, to think that we supposed to, just be treated like princesses and have this soft girl life and all that. You know what I'm saying? We are goddesses. We are goddesses. I don't need nobody to treat me like nothing. I don't need to be treated. I just am a goddess. It ain't nothing about no princess treatment and princess code. So they psyched us out with that as well too. Okay, the Tima is a collective consciousness of the dark goddess, the wounded, trapped, and enslaved, the abused and traumatized female archetype. I'm gonna say that again. The Tiamat, Tiamat, is the collective consciousness of the dark goddess, wounded goddess, trapped goddess, enslaved goddess, the abused and traumatized goddess. That is a female archetype which inverted into a satanic force. They took that energy and they inverted into a satanic force, embedded into the holographic archetype of the collective consciousness. Okay? The source of the reversal female in the lunar consciousness used to currently distort the women in the female principle, which forms into dark mother on the planet. That's what created the dark mother agenda, by the reversal of the female archetype. They reversed it, and that's how this got created. Okay, Tiamat was a planet in our solar system that exploded into bits and is congealed into a phantom body running artificial timelines. So basically, this planet exploded. Is little particles out there, but they took the little particles down, parts of the particles, and that's how they created the artificial timeline. So you got to know what timeline you on and all of that. Like, I'm really tapped in and deep into this because I really want to know what is what, especially when it comes to myself. I know what timeline I'm on, so you got to know what timeline you on. I collapsed a lot of timelines. I had like probably maybe 4 or 5 timelines that I had to collapse. People, you'll know through the karmic cycles and stuff that you go through with people what timeline you was on. Like I just did one. Okay, so with the last person I was dealing with, that was a timeline we shared together too. I had one with my ex-husband. That was a timeline too. That we were back like in the gladiator days. Okay, I had that. I'll talk about that another time. The ancient unhealed pain of Tiamat is part of the construct used as a phantom system to artificially inflict these painful memories and these sexual memories upon the human race. They swirl parts of her wounded body bits into 2D and use her consciousness to move in and out of time portal. Okay, so they use Tiamat just like they're using the feminine energy now. Okay, to keep the pain hidden in the female enslaved, the controllers kept excessive war and misogyny circulating in the previous areas of Eden, in the areas of Iraq and Iran. So if you know anything about what's going on over in Iraq and Iran with the sexual energy over there, it's sad. It's so sad. They over there messing with them kids. It's so sad what they doing over there in that sexual energy. Okay, so we don't really even know. They distorted us so much that we don't even really know what's the true Garden of Eden. We done lost from that because of what they created. Okay. All right. So one more. I'm going to read again. We just talked about this as well too. But the lunar force, it can also encrypt or program in parasites as well too. These lunar forces decided to exploit planetary resources by enslaving the inhabitants and by planning to eventually colonize the planet with their lunar consciousness forms. This was accomplished through breeding programs, alien hibernation, and working in collaboration with the neighboring extraterrestrial races that trade and barter for assorted negative alien technology and earthly commodities. So we basically sold ourselves out for their technology. This explains why the human body is such a valued and covert genetic solar technology, as humans have many more abilities, emotional senses, and possibilities that exist in their own physical bodies than a lunar entity has available in a biological drone body. So that's why y'all been seeing the drones. That's why you like, well, how are they controlling the masses of people? It's all through this. They only give us a little bit of our brain power to use, and everything else is controlled by them. So that's why they master. Like if you look at commercials, if you look at things, how they repeat it, you notice how even when a song come out, like, when back in the day when we listened to the radio and a song would come on, they would repeat that song all day long, every day, all day. They would repeat the same song till you memorize the song. This is all part of this. They do so many things to program us. Okay. It's crazy. I know I keep saying it's crazy, but it is. The intruding group sought to permanently destroy the natural occurring solar Christ DNA. They wanted to permanently destroy our solar Christ DNA from existing anywhere on the planet and within the entire universal system. In order to take this planet at their primary territory for colonization, it is their NAA group that had planned to gradually use the solar. So they basically use the solar energy for their gain. Okay, they use the solar energy for their gain, but they didn't want us to use it for ours. Okay, so they know all about this. They knew all about astrology. They knew all about solar energy. They knew all about that. They said, nope, we'll keep it for ourselves. They don't need to know that. Just they need to know this. Okay. They wanted to take our solar stimulators to replace the heat of the actual sun in the lower atmosphere, because it is the sun that transmits eternal soul intelligence from the solar logos to humanity. The sun is what transmits our eternal soul. So remember, they were saying like there's an actual dome around the actual planet, because they didn't really want us to really connect. Y'all notice the sun been hotter than ever. The sun been feeling closer. It's been feeling hotter because the dome is disappearing. And they don't even know how to like actually, now they talking about taking the sun out. Now they talking about, well, what happened if they take the sun out and all this other stuff and the power grid go off and all of that. They doing whatever they can to literally keep us disconnected from that sun energy. Yes. Yes. They doing all of that. Like just going to the beyond just to have energy, because they ain't got no energy of themselves. The reptilian, draconian, and grays don't have no energy. The humanoids, they don't have no, and they need a slave of population. They always need a slave of population. So they trying to figure out whatever way they can. And then they went and tried the timeline jump. They tried the timeline jump and they put themselves on the wrong damn timeline. And now they don't put themselves on the timeline of getting exposed. Okay. The damage occurred to the solar Stargate system and the Sun Disk network, disconnected the Avatar Christ matrix. So we talked about that already. The NM group took advantage of closed systems and fragmented souls of Sara as they was receding back into the Earth timelines to recreate, and they lost. So we just read that as a result of the planetary grid damage. Okay. So anybody got any questions? Yeah, this is basically saying the same thing. Yep, soul powers for eons and through time in universe. Yeah, right, Lucia. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to come and share with you guys. If you have any questions, you could comment below. Let me know what your thoughts is. Let me know what you theorize on this situation. Okay. I've seen it, and it's not because I've seen it with my own family. I see it with my clients as well too, and what they experience, how they feel lost, how they not sure what is going on around them. You know, so it's a lot. But the next we're going to do my next live. We're going to be doing a. Okay, go ahead, Nova, with your question. Next, we're going to be talking about the different layers of souls. So I want you guys to understand the different types of layers of soul, from incarnate to your actual avatar. So we're going to be talking about that later. I'll probably come back and talk about that tomorrow. Yes, she is part of the program. Dark Mother is. So with the Dark Mother, is she part of the program? Yes, she is. Okay, that's her question. So with the dark, oh my God. It's a fly here. I got it. Y'all know I don't like flies. I'm in Texas, y'all. He just came right there. Okay, so with the Dark Mother, is she part of the programming? Yes, she is part of the program. She is. There's several parts of the programming. It's not just Dark Mother is one. No, it is. No, you're not a fly. My kids, they go in and out. We ain't got no strings and stuff, so I'm already gonna like have to have a plan in place because I'm downstairs and the garage door is right there, the back door is right there. It's one fly, but I do not like them things. I'm gonna have to get something in place for when it's summertime when it really get hot, because right now it's not that hot. But anywho, so you have the sexual program. It's all different layers of the mind control that we get programmed under, right? So you just have to remove the program. The mother and the father was one of them. The Dark Mother was one of them. The sex was one of them. The drugs and how they put them in our community, that was another one of them. Entertainment was another form of it. Exploitation was another form of the programming. All of these were part of the actual programming to stop us. Okay. I didn't even know you can do this. This was an amazing comment. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Nova for your question as well. Okay. Thank you for your time and effort. You're so welcome. You are so welcome. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to learn the layers of our soul tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow. If you're interested, I am having a class this Saturday on how to work with your psychic gifts, your abilities, and learning about all the different divination tools. So we're going to be learning about all of that. I think I have almost every divination tool that's on there. Okay. I know I have like over might be like 33 different gifts. But we're going to talk about the main gifts, the main clairs, what they are, how to identify them, how to strengthen them. And then I'm going to also get you to tap into those gifts as well, too. Okay. So I love you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a beautiful and blessed one. And don't forget to click the subscribe and the thumbs up button and comment below and let me know what you think. I love y'all. Have a great evening. Bye.